Hi, everyone. Thought I'd share my first morning coffee with you today and maybe answer a couple of questions around wrench time, earned value, tool time, actual value, and how we measure the tool time on a shutdown, turnaround, outage event or pit stop campaign. So I get this question often. Why do I measure tool time? What is the value? What is the productivity factor versus performance? How do I measure tool time? So I put together this lesson a while back, and I have a guide here, 53-page lessons, four very key lessons around dynamic scheduling, estimating best practices or basis of planning in terms of estimating definitions, and then how to actually calculate. And I've actually have this calculator that I've developed that I use just an Excel spreadsheet to help out in terms of calculating my earned value performance. So again, remember PF, uppercase PF is productivity factor. Productivity factor is a factor that we apply to a benchmark standard estimate. And then on the back end, we have a lowercase pf for performance is what we measure. So we apply pf on the front and we measure performance on the back. So one of the key things to remember when we're estimating is that we only estimate direct tool time. And we allow the scheduling or the programming in the system, Primavera, for example, to calculate the performance based on a PF that we will apply while we're scheduling. So we have the opportunity then to apply productivity factors based on the location of the work, the environment, the competencies of the contractors, for example. So if I'm working in Argentina versus Canada versus Saudi Arabia, if I have different levels of competencies within my organization, depending on the height or the location of a particular asset. So I have the same planned hours for a strip down rebuild procedure on a YouTube exchanger, for example, and I estimate those as a benchmark standard norms, so only tool time. I don't take into account travel time, lunch time, break time, non-productive time. That will be handled as a productivity factor, non-productive time, while I'm scheduling, and that gives me the opportunity to run what-if scenarios and change on the fly to add productivity during an opening phase that might be twice as much as the productivity during a closure phase. Because when I open, I have in a refinery, for example, everything is hot and smelly and frozen bolts and issues around blinding. So I need to be able to have that capability of programming and scheduling when I do that. And I'm doing that again in Primavera when I apply my productivity factors to the resources or to the phase or to the type of work, and I'm running different scenarios to find out what is my most optimized plan. And my most optimized plan is when I can have the lowest budget, the fewest resources or least amount of man hours, and the shortest duration outage in chronological time. So a couple of things to think about here. Definition between planned, earned, and actual. I need all three of those to be able to calculate my tool time. So planned is what Primavera would call budgeted, and it's the estimate of the man hours calculated from the duration of an activity times the crew to create the man hours. And those man hours now will accumulate in a particular shift. So we're not going to measure tool time for every job. We're going to measure the tool time by shift or by day over a 24-hour period. From that, we need to have what did we plan to do in this 24-hour period? Well, you'll see here in P6 that I've highlighted all the work that's resources going to be deployed today. I have on this time period turned on. Remember, this time period is available when we have this show all projects is turned off. If you have this turned on, this down here will be grayed out. So you want to make sure that you show all projects. Pick a time period. We could pick a time period, say day 10 on this event, and day 10 tells me that I'm going to have to earn 4,720 man hours for all of these. Now maybe I'm just going to look at the pipe fitter, for example, and pipe fitters for this particular day 10 need to earn 744 hours. And what do I mean by earn? It means percent complete. And remember, I can never earn more than planned on a single activity. I might be able to earn more over the period of 24 hours if I do additional work. But on a single activity, whatever I planned, I need to earn, which is percent complete. What it actually costs me in dollars, so actual is dollars, earned is percent complete. What it actually costs me from the timesheet will always be equal, less or more than what I had planned. And that's what's going to calculate my tool time. So I need the timesheet data on a day-to-day basis from contractors or from employees to be able to calculate that. So let's go and take a look at, let's plug in these numbers here when we talk about the value of a planned hours for a particular day. I'm going to choose this one here at 5,200 hours that I need to earn. So have I deployed enough people with the right productivity factor to earn that? Is that practical? So let's go back to the calculator and take a look. I'm going to look at a productivity factor of 1. That means that for every hour I planned, I assume I'm going to earn and only pay for 1 hour of time. So I'm assuming that nobody takes a break, nobody goes to the washroom, nobody has to get a permit. They just work 24 hours full time, which we all know is impossible. But let's take a look at what happens. When I have 5,200 man hours, which again, this came from, and on this tool, feel free to email me or send me a message on LinkedIn. I'll send you the tool and the guidebook so you can go through this yourself. What I'm looking at is I'm basically referencing these man hours, and I'm plugging that man hour number into my tool, my calculator here, 5,200 planned hours. So that'll show up here that says with a productivity factor of 1, I'm going to get 5,200 man hours available to plan. When I earn at the end of the shift or the end of 24 hours, I can say that my percent complete earned me 5,200. So my SPI, or my scheduled performance index, will be 1 because everything is equal. Then when I look at what it actually cost me, how much did I pay for, how many hours did I pay for to earn this? If I said that, oh, I actually paid for 5,200, I'm going to have a cost performance index of 1. So my efficiency is 1. So I'm perfect. I'm making, for every hour that I earn, that I had planned, I'm paying an hour and I'm happy. But we know that that's in reality doesn't work that way. So let's take a look at what if I take a productivity factor of 1.4. That means I'm only working 8 hours on the tools in a 12-hour shift. So think about that. That's the real world, okay? That's the real world. So 1.4 times the planned 5,200 hours, the most that I can earn on this 24-hour period or this shift is 3,714. Okay? That's the most I can earn. So at the end of the day, maybe I got lucky and I actually earned that 714. So my SPI is good, but in reality, I probably maybe earned 3,200, which means my SPI is below 1, is sitting at 0.86. So already a bit of a challenge, okay? Now let's take a look at what did it cost me to earn that? Well, maybe I had to pay 4,200 hours. Sorry, 4,200 hours I had to pay for that. So suddenly my CPI is at 0.75 or 75%, and I'm down to 0.66. So my tool time efficiency based on SPI and CPI is not great. Now maybe I only paid the 3,200, so I'm looking good in terms of I paid for what I earned, but I didn't earn what I thought I was going to earn. Now let's take a look at it on 1.8. Now this is realistic. 1.8 productivity factor when I'm shutting down a unit and isolating and blinding and cleaning and opening, trying to get to that key milestone of having everything open. Usually we overestimate how much we can get done because we don't put the right productivity factor on, understanding that the unit or the plant is new to a lot of transient workers. It's hot. I got decontamination delays or shutdown delays. I'm having trouble getting flanges spread open and studs removed. It's hot. It's smelly. People working under mask. I need to know that I'm probably going to have to put in a productivity factor of 2 for my open phase, which means the most work that I can do is 2,600. It's basically half. And so if I'm fortunate enough to earn that, then I'm going to have a realistic SPI. And again, it's probably going to cost me, with all the resources deployed and all of the overhead, non-productive time, permit time, break time, walking time, and the other time that I add on a PF. So there's two PFs. One is a standard, typical 1.4 for everyone who's working on the tools, turning valves or turning wrenches. That makes up for the break times and legitimate time, break time, coffee time, wash up time, and safety time. Everyone gets that. Now, if I'm working at heights, I'm working in congestion or risky work, confined space entry, hot work, I might add another productivity factor on top of that. So now I'm at 1.4, then I add on another 0.3. I'm at 1.7 productivity to be realistic in that shift. So again, I'm down at 80% here. So my efficiency is 0.8, which is fine if I had already determined that I'm going to put that into my plan or as I schedule. So I program that, and that's how I schedule. And how do I do that in P6? I'm going to go to these resources, for example, these pipe fitters. I'm going to say I'm going to apply a productivity factor of 1.8, and then I'm simply going back using the dynamic feature for leveling, scheduling, and I'm going to produce a new plan based on what I had put in for a productivity factor. And I'm going to do this and run all very different scenarios, and I can run all kinds of scenarios before I even do the work and see what's going to happen. What is the impact on the budget? What is the impact on my man hours, which will in this case stay the same, but what is my time frame? Typically, chronological time will increase because something has to give. If it's going to take me longer to do this work, I still have to earn it. I still plan to have to earn it. It's going to take me longer to do this. This allows me to run my simulations. So again, this tool, this is something that you can play with to kind of give you like examples of, okay, 1.5 on 5,200. The most I can earn is 3,467. So let's say that I earned only 3,500 or 3,400. I can't earn any more than I planned. And I had to pay 4,000 hours, actual hours to get this. So I'm again at 80%. So if I went back and said, okay, well, I'm going to use a productivity factor of 1, and I'm going to assume that I can earn the 5,200 hours. So I should be at 1 for productivity, which is good. So I get my scheduling performance index is good. I can say that I had to pay 6,200 hours to earn that. So that's what I burned. So 0.84, 80%. Okay, so let's go back for one moment and just take a look at one of these crews, for example. Boilermakers working on let's choose day 14. Boilermakers are working on day 14. I'm going to burn through $18,000. This is my actual. Now that's including indirect and direct, all overhead. And I'm going to have to earn 192 hours. Now, if I don't earn that, I'm probably still burning quite a bit of this cost. So my ratio of earn versus burn is going to be out of whack. And I'm always looking for high earn, low burn. Okay, high earn, low burn. Not just cash burn, but float burn. So you might see my float here. This float is very expensive. And if somebody's burning this float, and sooner or later I'm going to crash and collide with a milestone or collide with something, this is going to cost me money. And so I want to keep an eye on how much float am I burning, how much am I paying to earn, and what is my performance of my workforce. So again, this is kind of my lesson for today. Lots more things I could talk to you about because I love this topic. I could spend all day with you on this. Again, I'm working on my free version of Camtasia. I'm thinking how I'm going to move towards a more structured learning videos for you. But in the meantime, totally feel free to send me a message. Let me see if I have let me just throw this up for you before we go any further on my LinkedIn. So if you want to send me a message or connect with me on LinkedIn, send me a message, send me an email. My contact information is available here, was available here. Contact info, you can get a hold of me, send me an email, write to me, and or message me. I'll send you the guide. I'll send you this tool, and I'll send you the guidebook. So here's the guidebook, and it's quite extensive guidebook on scheduling methodology, basis of planning, information around calculating wrench time. So just remember, Capital PF is productivity factor applied to a benchmark estimate before we do the work. Small PF is performance. It's an outcome. It's what we measure. So I get good performance, not good productivity. So I apply productivity to benchmark. Planned is my estimated crew times duration to get man hours. That's planned or budgeted. Earned is percent complete. I can never earn more than planned. And actual is dollars. Actual is what did it actually cost me. And it typically takes me 24 hours or 48 hours to get that actual hour available from a contractor in order to calculate that. And you'll see here when we're in P6, people do get confused around activities. For example, when I'm talking status here, budgeted labor units, this is actual. This should say earned over here. Okay, this is confusing for a lot of people. Terminology around P6, but remember, P6 was not designed for stop events. We have to use the workarounds by programming. So anyways, I think I've talked enough. I'm going to send this video out onto my YouTube channel and give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. I think this is a fun topic. So cheers. Have a great day, guys.